еще раз продолжается
And once again, hello. We continue with our Positive Hack Days, the biggest festival which everybody who wants to visit it in Moscow can go and do so. And we continue with the standoff battle. We are about to reach the breaking point in our confrontation. If hackers would be able to breach into the defense system, we will have our break news, but it still did not happen. So cyber standoff, cyber range is associated with cyber studies and cyber education. And that's why we're speaking about education. And during this discussion, I have my great colleagues. First and foremost, we have Anastasia Company, which is the general partner for Positive Hack Days. We have Nina Shipkova, who is the head manager of the Stage Company, Alexander Savadyanikov, PhD in technical science and the head of the chair for the Pedagogical University, also known as FinEC. And we also have Dmitry Fedorov, my colleague, who works in our expert department, and he is a consultant. Dear colleagues, thank you very much for coming. And I would like to start with the question. Alexander, question to you. How did the generation of people who come into IT security change in the last 5 to 10 years? How did their mental approach change? Good day. Obviously, time flies, things change, and young people also change. And currently, I myself, as a representative of a company, and we can compare this. We have young people who want to work, who want to study, who want to implement real stuff, who want obviously to earn money. Everybody learns these small yellow coins. The level of education for people who come to business obviously changes. There are many questions. And traditionally, the main problem is that the educational institution prepare for something else. But in the business, they need something else completely different from the students. And usually when you start working, what do people here? Young people here forget all you studied in the university and you have to start from scratch. And this is what we're trying to do so that our young colleagues would start working on themselves, getting important experience. They would widen and deepen their horizons. Nina, what do your customers tell you? Do your businesses tell you to forget everything you learned in the university? Well, actually, I would like to say a few words about the young people. I believe I'm also one of the younger generation. And currently, younger people select IT security because they really want to do so, and they have a very serious approach. Not necessarily how we did 10 to 15 years ago. First of all, it's because of digitalization. They basically grew up with their thumbs on a smartphone, and they can see the impact of cybersecurity and IT security society. And that's the reason why they are very aligned with their goals. But at the same time, they really want to achieve good results really fast. And when you do it alone, it's not always possible. But here they can cooperate, they join in teams, and this kind of approach makes it possible for them to achieve the best result in the shortest period of time. Dima, you also work with teams. You do not teach some single expert or specialist. Can you speak about the team spirit a little bit? Yes, I do share what Alexander spoke about in the younger generation. And I would like to go back to the previous question first, connected with the saying, okay, forget all you learned in the university. Obviously, you do not have to do this because the university gives us fundamental knowledge. We're speaking about physics, we're speaking about mathematics, we are speaking about some fundamental some foundation of the IT science. And when students start working, obviously they have to go into this practice and they have to look for an internship. So I respectfully disagree with you, Alexander, that you have to forget it. Obviously, you know this knowledge, it's very important, it's the foundation, and everything else will be built upon it.
На самом деле, не с Александром
Okay, I
Владимировичем.
do believe this. You disagree not exactly with Alexander, but what happened a few years, a few decades ago. This is what people used to say, that university is one thing, but the life is a different thing. And it's good that you notice that fortunately it's become a thing of the past, and now this link between the university and the work has shortened.
Связка, наоборот, усиливается, да, а
Yeah, the link has become stronger and it becomes shorter. According to your experience, the cybersecurity expert has become more or maybe less popular. What has changed in the last few years? What do you think about this? Well, obviously, it has become more popular. And I remember that I graduated from the university. It was about 10 years ago. And we did not have this kind of conferences, which we have now. It was just the inception of this kind of conferences. And now we have cyber ranges, cyber battles. And at that time, we studied it. We did not have this access to the internet. We had modems, we had routers, and we had to scour for information from different sources. We did not have textbooks, and we had to study what we had at that time. And now currently the environment, the landscape is changing. And now comes another problem. Students are constantly in this information noise environment, and the amount of data, amount of information, video content, which appear PhD and standoff, so many presentations, so many speakers you would like to listen to, and it takes a lot of time and efforts. So modern students are overloaded with information. And I think it's very important to note, because students cannot adapt to this torrent of information. It's harder for them to study. So people would ask why students sleep during the lectures. Obviously, we did so, but I think current students get tired faster and easier because students are always online. They are always communicating. And if we're speaking about education, then the modern education competes not exactly with sleep. The modern education competes with social networks, first and foremost. That's why students are always online, students are always engaged, and a lecturer has to fight for their attention. And now the question to the university, how professors, how lecturers would make the education process more attractive to them, so that they will fight for this attention and win the battle. I do agree that there is a need for IT experts and cybersecurity experts, which is increasing day to day. We can see that we have more data, we have more devices which process this information. And during the last 10 years, we've seen how this IT changed, media industry changed. We have so much input information which we have to process not only with our own eyes and ears and capabilities, mental abilities, but just technical devices. So the specialists who work in cybersecurity, in the confidentiality of data, are very important, are in dire need. And everybody would agree, especially from a specific organization, there are many tasks to do, especially at the intersection between the IT and cybersecurity and data processing. And thinking about education, every day we have more and more increased requirements for the education. And there is a greater task for students in terms of fundamental knowledge. We have requirements from the government how much information should be crammed into a student so that they would be considered a bachelor or a master, depending on the degree they choose. But there is not enough time. So the information must be fundamental, must be concise, must be packed in such a way so that students would actually understand and realize what they're trying to earn and what they're trying to learn.
Как удается?
But finally, this has to be useful to the business. Yes, I would like to say a few words. I would like to continue what Dmitry said. It's true that the students are in this information environment, and to break through, you need experienced mentors, experienced experts who will basically take them by the hand and will go with them through all. And these kind of mentors could be specialists from business, for example. And the businesses do so that these mentors could help students so that our market would contribute to overall improvement. And just a few words, that institutions, university, it's not just about education, it's about upbringing, it's about socializing. So we are speaking about students as superhumans. They would have fundamental knowledge, they will have some basic knowledge, and they will be able to use it in practice. It's very important for business to be able to apply the knowledge you've collected. And for business, it's very important to do this as fast as possible. And universities have prolonged period of time, usually takes 4, 5, and 6 years before a student becomes a member of the professional member of the market. So we could have a different way, maybe a shortcut, and we could get a ready specialist, a ready expert in 3 or 4 years. Maybe that's a way to do so. Maybe we can go to vocational school instead of university, and we can prepare really good analysts, narrow specialists who will have their careers in their specific security organizations. I think it's because usually we have this fundamental approach, and I think usually what would we use in the work? I think it's very important about the format of education. Clearly, we could have great professors and lecturers, but if the format itself involves interaction, we have ranges, we have cyber standoff, then it's really, really good. And I'm sure that our participants, our blue defenders of our cyber range, some of them participate for the second, for the third time. They have different teams or maybe the same teams. And yeah, they actually have rotations between teams. They have new guys, they want to test them, and they will go through this real interaction. They need to work with different team members.
Действительно видно, как некоторые из этих новеньких, да, окей, понятно, что ты очень далеко не пойдешь, может быть, кто-то, но некоторые выявляются звезды, о которых даже и не знали люди, которые с ними работают, что оказывается, что они действительно прям прекрасные люди, прекрасные будущие звезды. Затронули вкратце тему, которая для меня, наверное, самая горячая – дефицит кадров ИБ. Каждый первый заказчик, не совру, говорит о том, что не хватает кадров. Что с этим делать, помимо того, что подключать действительно среднее образование?
So how can we connect education? Can you say a couple of words about requalification of IT specialists into the information security officers? Can you continue, please? Yeah, there is a deficit of employees, and it's growing since last year. It became obvious. Especially we miss highly qualified specialists, medium and higher level specialists. We do have a lot of specialists who moved into IT, novices who came from other industries into information security, but they need time to achieve a certain level, to improve their skills. So our main objective today is to look at those specialists that we have already. Well, in addition to students that we already have and work with, and we should make an attempt.
Так, распространили вирус-шифровальщик на управляющую компанию Сити.
Okay, encoder virus.
Тут сразу скажу, наверное, это не самое...
Well, it's not the brightest inadmissible event that we might have.
Данных, да.
Data leakage, penetration, we do have a lot of those cases. Data theft from counter-agents, well, things happen. We do have a lot of events like that, but this is also an inadmissible event which happened. Maybe it's not so bright for us as this attraction, but we do understand that if something like that happens in the company, nothing good will come out of this.
Помимо обучения студентов,
Well, in addition to training the students, in addition to teaching the school kid education, we need to pay attention to those students who already work in the industry and how should we improve their skills. And for this, we can use cyber exercise, interactive trainings, labs.
Компанию City
City company has been encoded.
Ничего хорошего.
Once again, nothing good.
ну, в целом я мысль закончила на самом деле.
Well, actually, I've told you whatever I wanted to tell you.
Кадров, потому что к тебе приходят в итоге.
Да, я добавлю
Usually people come to you. Yes, I would like to add to this.
вопросы
I
взаимодействия.
do control questions of relations between positive technologies and universities, and we did face a situation that we have very unclear statistics. Everybody says that we need specialists in information security, but how many of them? No specific numbers.
Возникает
Why do we have such a situation?
разных областей.
Yes, we need specialists in different areas. Cybersecurity is a wide field which has 8 big directions, and we should understand
Нужно рассматривать.
in which direction we should look in finding those specialists. We don't have such a request. We try to understand it and analyze it. That's number one. Number two,
Эм,
I do agree with Nina
людей, которые
that we need to work with people who already know about IT and possibly offer them courses, vocational courses, so that they could get used to the technologies, so that they would come to the market with knowledge of technologies. This is a big class of people, and according to statistics,
в среднем там брать статистику, это
if on average you will see 9 to 11,000 security students graduating, and from the retraining point of view, it's more than 60,000, much more people. So we have to look in this direction.
Каким образом
Alexander Vladimirovich, how universities with a fundamental approach can
изменение спроса?
cope with such dynamic changes in the market? Well, this is very complex. I would like to repeat. Universities are limited by educational standards. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, well, this is the approach of the state.
С одной стороны, некую планку
On one side, it defines a certain level, but it breaks on the other side.
этих документов.
And the period of the update of these documents, not year, not 2, not even 3 years. And requirements today for the update of the program, reinforcing this program, paying attention to some specific topics of cybersecurity. Well, that's a pretty wide area, wide field, and it's impossible to work with it only in one narrow. But yes, we have to work well. The graduate should have wide fundamental education, but also he should be a specialist in a particular area which is required by the particular business. So we need to keep this balance
Да, его потребности, его желания,
and help them to realize their ambitions, desires,
дальнейшего карьеры.
show their need and possibility of the career growth. Different people have different needs. It's very difficult. University
Как-то находиться в струе, да, этого всего.
is trying to stay behind all of this, try to react adequately
Наиболее
by communicating with representatives of the biggest companies in the IT sphere,
безопасности.
or
Участвовать
maybe in information security companies, continuously participating in different federal events and updating standards, making proposals on improving these programs, making some additional disciplines or courses, providing students and graduates possibility to work in several areas to get vocational knowledge, real knowledge from living environment. Information security is a viable, it's a living industry, and we can see every day it's changing, and we have to constantly work and react on these changes. Dear practitioners,
Фундаментальное.
are you helped
Затем
by good quality fundamental research to become more flexible?
Безусловно, потому что
Definitely it does.
все-таки вуз это про то, как
Because university is about learning to learn, how to properly consume information, how to properly align this information to your life. If the person has been consuming fundamental knowledge in university, then he'll be able to very quickly
то, что ему нужно, да, любой
learn things that he needs to learn, and any sphere becomes opened to him.
учиться. Поэтому
So it's the ability to learn, definitely. And the finalist question that I have prepared, we've been speaking a lot about the breadth of knowledge that security people should have. Yes, of course, they should have skills of paper security as well. Do you have any words about that? How all these things that we've been discussing, how is it aligned with the necessity of compliance, necessity of following the requirements, legal requirements? Well, I would like to tell you this is one of the directions, one of the areas.
Этим направлением занимаются, конечно, люди,
And this area is covered by people who know it, who like it. Yes, of course, the basics of when I've been learning in the university, we've been studying documents. And back then, these were some standards for the previous 10 years, while the industry has changed.
я добавлю вот
And I would like to add to these, I would like to add to Nina's words that we need to learn constantly. And everything that you've learned previously, of course, you will keep this knowledge, but new standards will be added.
То есть я подчеркну мысль, что
So I would like to emphasize the fact that this is just one of the directions we work. Yes, we have to work in this direction, we have to move in this direction, and we have specially trained people who do this. Those people who like this work, and we do have a lot of people like that. This is wonderful when in your organization there is a possibility of having both types of people, when you don't have to do it like in small companies, combining. I don't understand how you can combine those two things.
Не только приходится, а вынужден.
We have to combine. We definitely have to combine because informational security is a complex sphere of activities. It's impossible to be narrowly specialized here. Well, the engineer, the graduate, the specialist should be both financial specialist, engineer, manager, organizer, businessman, whatever.
Естественно, работа с документами.
Of course,
Наш один
paper security, working with documents,
с документами. Это
like somebody said, I work with documents. It's a very important sphere.
задачи и до конца.
First, we need to set objectives and all the way execution. We all followed by some documents.
Наверное, последний вопрос в таком
Well, and the final question,
взаимодействии с
how universities see cooperation with integrators and how vendors do see such cooperation. How do you see this cooperation? Okay, you will be the first one. How do you see cooperation with vendors?
всё более и более напряженные,
More and more intense and mutually penetrating. Without cooperation with industry, starting from small and all the way to big companies, it's impossible. It's impossible to live. We constantly move in this direction, both on regional and federal levels.
популяризировать то,
We're trying to promote things which are important, the questions of informational security. So when working with industries and organizations, we try to get recent requirements from them, requirements which they need so that our product would work for them, because our product should comply to the requirements of the client. The client is the consumer, the industry. And the fact that our graduate has a certificate and diploma which says that, okay, good graduate, well, it means nothing. He comes to work and then they evaluate what he knows, what he can do, what skills does he have, and what other skills he needs to upgrade. So it's a constant cooperation on the level of teachers, managers,
директора,
deans,
озадачены непосредственно каждодневно этим вопросом.
and we work in this direction every day.
Хотим ли создавать специальные
But do we want to create some additional faculties with some additional programs? Yes, of course, we work in this area. Well, I would like to say that business also feels the need to work closely with universities, because for the business, otherwise, they wouldn't create a lot of business academies, retraining programs, fields, and things like that.
Растим для себя рынок
Because working with universities, we develop highly qualified specialists who understand IT security and those who can speak the same language with us. So it is very important, and we definitely will continue our cooperation with universities in this area. Tima, the floor is yours. I would like to add some specifics into our conversation.
предоставляет вуз
Right now, Positive provides to universities on a contest basis training licenses for the software,
обучаем преподавателей.
including we train teachers, train the training course, We provide methodological specifications for teaching how to work with the products, but it's important to have initiative from the side of the teachers. Teachers should be interested to learn new things, and only then they'll be able to transfer their knowledge to students.
делаем в этой области?
So what we do in this area, we open winter and summer schools for the teachers of information security
В отрасли
where we tell what really happens in the industry, what is important for the teacher in the information security. So I would like to invite everyone,
размещаем.
and I will share with all the information on the internet side.
Если инициатива руководства вуза, руководства
This is also the initiative of the top management of the university. Yes, definitely. They are ready, the miraculous kick in the ass, to get additional qualification, close cooperation, with great pleasure, definitely. And I would like to say that since the first day of our forum, we have already met a number of representatives of universities from Moscow and St. Petersburg, and it gives me hope.
Они очень позитивные, очень открытые.
And they are very positive and open to new forms of cooperation. They are really interested in doing this.
Заканчивать.
So we start to end our discussion. I'm looking at those inadmissible events which already happened,
Уважаемые зрители,
and we see some repetitions. Okay, dear viewers, if you're in Moscow, please come to the Gorky Park.
пройти квест.
Openly, you can go to different quests, you can meet deepfakes, IT George, and many other projects.
Можете увидеть.
Also, you'll be able to see different attractions. And right now on the screen, we were able to see realization of an initial event,
Колеса обозрения в парке.
discontinuation of attraction Ferry Wheel, not in the Gorky Park, but in our virtual state in the CTF.
Много интересного вы можете увидеть.
A lot of interesting things you'll be able to see on the Positive Hack Day side, at the side of our
Наши киберучения, нашего кибер...
cyber exercise, our cyber field 365.com/event.
происходит, разбирайтесь в том, как...
Read what really happens, read how the security works. And the final word that I would like to tell to all the students who are learning cybersecurity, just a couple of words for our students.
Ищите, думайте, работайте.
Search, think, work.
Будьте более инициативными, находите
Show more initiative. Find those companies that you want to work in and contact them
интересно и занимайтесь.
and do whatever is interesting to you.
Федор,
Go there.
Positive Technologies, Нина
Positive Technologies, Nina Shipkova, in a stage, Alexander Solodovnikov, sorry.
Спасибо всем большое. Оставайтесь
Thank you very much. Stay with us.